Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to part 2 of this stream, I guess you'd call it, where we are going to be playing Hearts of Iron, because I finished the Total War game. This is continuing with the UK series, where it is now 1947, midway through, and the counterattack on Germany has just begun. We've got the Americans launching all kinds of completely suicidal attacks on Italy, but that's not really where the fun is. The fun is over here, where we are currently smashing Japan, because we got really lucky and just managed to make a massive breakthrough. We took over Southeast Asia, we brought Siam in on our side rather than the Japanese side, and we are now in the process of trying to free China. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union is suffering rather a lot in the war. They've lost 27.2 million troops against Germany's 9.4. Italy's lost 5.6. Japan's lost 6.4. I've lost 2.2. America's lost 5.5. I'm still bewildered by just how America has lost that, because they've done nothing in this game whatsoever. The war in Africa was won a long time ago. We tried to do an invasion of Spain, which actually went kind of catastrophically, but we did get out. And those Spanish troops have now been switched over to this front because we were having a lot more success over here. And that's why we've got our new lifeguard units, which are mechanised. Mechanised, totally modern mechanised, with medium tanks. The Americans are the ones doing kamikazes in this timeline. Yeah, with 5.5 million troops, apparently. Biggest kamikaze in history. They're going for a Guinness World Record. Alright, so, I think we just unpause, because all of the orders are already being enacted. We could attack here into the north. And in fact, like, the ultimate goal, I think, is to try and get a border with the Soviets, so that I can start pushing troops in to go and bolster the Soviets again. Although I am still a little bit concerned about them capitulating, considering how close they are. Orders. Meanwhile, on the home front, we have a bunch of troops in training right now, mostly Marines, because our Marines keep getting pulverized. Through absolutely no fault of my own, of course. The Americans are cooking the books on how much they're losing. Yeah, we're contributing! Quick, add another million. And then the other thing that's going on is the war in the air, which we are actually doing pretty well on. Well, the bombers are continuing. Although we do seem to be losing bombers now. Yeah, we definitely need to try and up our bomber production. How many fighters do we have? Alright, so we're making a surplus in fighters once more. Scroll to the top. We are still producing... Where are the fighters? Here. I'm going to reduce you a tiny bit, and then start building more bombers if we can. We are also very short on mechanised and medium tanks, but that's because those divisions are in training. There's a lot of people in training. The British Army is finally taking to the land phase. How far am I from atom bombs? I could get them already, probably. I just don't really like them. Advanced fire control sounds nice. I mean, I haven't researched it, but it being 47, I definitely could. You can research them in 45, I think. Sinking convoys, sinking convoys, sinking convoys. Speaking of the sinking of convoys, we still have our submarines out there in the front line. This is actually saying that we need another recon fleet. And you're not wrong, my recon fleets are kind of getting blasted. Probably just because I haven't been, updating this. Oops. Not the submarines, those are still in training. So, split to reserves. Put reserves over here. And one of the carrier fleets is also doing a lot of repairs. Cool.
Listen up.
Meanwhile, the mechanized offensive is going very nicely, and in fact, let's have you just cycle round. Just grab Hainan. Can you explain the new naval interface a bit? Yeah. So, it's split up into task forces and fleets. Each fleet is one of these lines, and then you have task forces within each fleet, which is the individual icon. So it's kind of like the army groups and armies. Different task forces will interact with each other in different ways within that fleet. So, for example, the best example I have is my Pacific fleet. So I have these guys, which are my recon. They tend to be small numbers of destroyers and also a couple of light cruisers because they both have very good surface detection and also anti-submarine warfare. Their job is to look around for the enemy fleets. If they find submarines, they'll engage and try and sink them. If they find the enemy surface fleet, then they'll go, "Hey, strike fleet, you should totally come over here and fight them." The strike fleets, which are the ones with the aeroplanes and also the sailing boat, because it's a big strike fleet, sit in port until the recon find your opponent, and then they will sail out and engage the opponent while the recons continue to screen where your opponent is and basically try to force a battle. You also have convoy raiders, which can be either light cruisers, probably, heavy cruisers potentially, and most frequently submarines. And their job is to target enemy convoys. So a lot of the kills that we're getting out here at the moment in these two yellow regions are from my submarines. So what I've done is I've deployed my submarines further forwards in more dangerous territory. Then as I'm securing the islands and things around us, I'm moving my surface fleet forwards to try and force a battle with the Japanese while they try and like counterattack or something. That's a point. How are the Philippines doing with taking the Philippines back? They don't seem to be doing very much, so I might need to send the Marines over there. Where are you guys? You are in Singapore. I'm going to have you training for a bit more. So the different fleet types that you, or different ship types you want to have is, my standard recon template is 5 destroyers and 2 light cruisers. The light cruisers are mostly there to get the destroyers out of dodge if we do get engaged. Then the strike fleets are 2 carriers, 2 battleships, 2 battle cruisers, 2 heavy cruisers. You don't need to have this many capital ships. I just had that as my standard template because I started with a lot of capital ships. I think I'd actually suggest reducing that a bit. 3 light cruisers and then 40 destroyers. So the important number is you want to have a lot of destroyers in your strike fleets because they need to be properly screened. Otherwise you're going to have submarines or torpedo boats pushing through your screen and then targeting your capital ships, and if a torpedo hits a capital ship, it's basically dead. And the ratio is generally 1 capital ship to every 7 or 8 screen ships. So the screens are destroyers or light cruisers. So that's why I have so many destroyers in this fleet. I also wouldn't count recon ships in that calculation. I did start doing that first, and that was probably a mistake. So there you go. Hopefully that helps. Right, there is actually one more thing. For the recon ships, you want to be using the patrol order, and then you can select all of your patrol fleets. So if you go 1, 2, 3, those are my patrol fleets. Then you right-click on the map, which is what these 3 highlighted flashing green areas are. Those 3 recon fleets will then be divided between those 3 areas and will patrol them. You then select your strike fleets and then choose strike force, and then they will support the recon fleets in those 3 areas. Again, it has to be within the same fleet. Every fleet can have a single admiral, and it would obviously behoove you to have admirals with skills and traits associated with the role that they are doing. So your recons probably want to have spotting, your submarines probably want to have submarine warfare, your strike forces, depending on whether you're using carriers or capital ships, will need either aviator or like Ironside, something like that. And then I also have a dedicated escort fleet. That's the other job, which is the convoy escort. And that needs to be like spotting. Their job is to protect all the convoys in a certain area, and those fleets tend to be enormous, hence 99 destroyers. And they're protecting all the convoys around the UK, stopping German submarines targeting them as effectively. Although our effectiveness here is kind of poor, because we have 251 convoys going through that area, and my destroyers can't cover them all, so I do need to add more destroyers to this at some point. But right now my focus is squarely on the Pacific, because I want to take Japan out of this war, take over the Japanese home islands, and that's going to give me access to more resources, which we are desperately needing, because we're actually kind of short, and we've bought everything available. Attacking. You probably shouldn't. That's not you. Who's this?
Ready, sir.
Ah, it's you. No, you've still got lots and lots of planning preparation, so you can keep going. That's fine.
Let them have it.
And then meanwhile down here we're actually having loads of success. So you go ahead and stop that order. And let's give you another front line. We'll say go for this. Your planning prep is still very good, so go ahead and engage.
Under fire.
And then we have the Reds down here, who I think have just finished their order as well. Your job is going to be continue along the coastline. You've also still got planning prep, so it's all good.
Yes, sir. Attention.
Just launched a cheaty game to get the feel and had the balance way off. Yeah, the balance took me a while to get. So I'm not surprised. We lost 4 destroyers and light cruiser, they lost a light cruiser, so they are again trying to recon. I do kind of wonder if those recon fleets that keep on sticking their head out are actually mine fleets. They haven't done any mining because I've been so aggressively stopping them. But there's definitely something going on there. We are still training destroyers, right? We're certainly trying to. Yeah, we are certainly trying to. Oh, my back is really itchy for some reason. Alright, we need a little bit more aluminium, so go ahead and buy it. Again, blocked us. Stop that!
Go, go, go! Move out! Ready to move!
Now these should be a lot quicker than the infantry units. Unfortunately, they are defending a crossing here.
Keep your distance!
Okay, Marines.
All in!
I got a little job for you. I would like for you to launch a naval invasion from there to here.
Orders!
And I want you to unassign and just stay here for a bit. What are my thoughts on Man the Guns? I like it. I really like the changes that they've made to naval attacks. Or naval warfare, generally. So the strike group needs to be in the same line as the recon groups. Yes. Is mining effective? I actually don't know, Crazy Tom. I've not done it, and I've not had it done to me. Only 3 Marines is all I have right now. The others are still in training. Because they keep dying for some reason. Advanced artillery. More bigger guns. Huzzah! And that is all of the artillery upgrades done now. Do I want to start adding anti-tanks? When we come up against Germany, probably. Let's get the Bofors first, though, so that I can start upgrading the AA in my naval power units, ships.
All in.
Your plan's done already? Blimey. Okay, we'll go back to you, and then I'm going to say your job is going to be naval invasion support. So instead of being a strike fleet, they're now naval invasion support, which means they'll come over here and escort this army when they attack, and they will also provide shore bombardment automatically when they do attack, if they fight anything on the shore. And then we'll switch them back to strike force afterwards.
Ready, sir.
If any of those fixed front lines in the AI, yeah. Been told that while mining is only marginally effective, there's no chance for you to run into your own mines. There's no reason not to mine everywhere you can. I haven't tested it myself. I'm fairly sure that is how it works.
Ready to move.
Almost. Almost. You guys have now got an organization of 59. Cool. I mean, one of the things we probably could do is expand the size of the marine units to make them hit harder. Probably ought to do that. Make them combat with 20 so that we can get 4 divisions in at the same time. Could even remove 2. And then get an artillery piece. And an AA or an AT. Except then we'd have to make those. I'll think about it.
Orders.
Okay, you guys are ready to go. Go! And then with the Marines being established here, we'll be able to attack Haiku with the Marines from land, and then also with support from these two. Then hopefully take over Hainan that way.
Ready.
Thousand defense. Wow. They are seriously entrenched in Haiku.
All in.
The other... Oh, he's exhausted already.
Listen up.
Come on! I want to hit them from multiple angles again. Because these guys are on basically no organization. How do we keep losing? Stop that! Well, we're about to take an airbase, which will make future attacks a little easier. Damn it, I keep on hitting my freaking microphone today. I'm sorry about that. Irritating.
Taking cover! Under fire! Taking cover!
Alright, let's pause for a bit and then regroup. Then we can always attack again.
Ready, sir!
Actually, you know what? No, stay. Alright, this is getting annoying. I didn't mean that. I meant that. Stay there.
Come on!
Stay. Alright, so we're going to wait until all of the Marines are here again, then we'll launch another attack. In fact, I should probably have been less concerned with taking the rest of the island and concerned more on taking that, because that's where the airbase is. Naval base. Okay, I handled that poorly. Did they fix the bug about foreign generals not being able to get experience? I don't think so. At least I don't think there's been
Yes, sir!
an update yet, has there? Right, let's do this again.
Come on!
Why are you not supporting? Come on, people! To a reserves. Why are you not in the reserves? With an upcoming election, people are beginning to question the capability of the current administration to pursue the ongoing war. The UK has suffered greatly and popular opinions turned against those who seem to be leading our nation to defeat. While our people are determined to see the war to an end, they would rather see another government ending it. So we can lose stability, or we can gain stability and gain a bit of communism and fascism. I'll take the free... Wait, that was a loss of stability. That went down, I saw that. We're still massively conservative. Democratic.
Orders!
What exactly are you two doing?
Move out!
Because you're not attacking. Oh, for Pete's sake.
Attention!
Yeah, land battles are definitely not bugged.
Attention!
Don't know what makes you think that. Send the motorized to the island so they don't get the crossing penalty. Can't, we have no port over here. I'm going to build a couple of transport planes because I haven't done that yet and we probably should.
All in! Yes, sir!
Yeah, I have 3 dockyards, but I have no resources with which to use them, so they'd be wasted regardless.
Attention!
Zero transport planes, why? I'm making 1.5 a month. That's not very good.
Listen up!
Alright, new plan. Build me a naval yard. Right there. High priority. Go.
Ready!
Coming in with some more lifeguard units. Oh, whoops.
Attention!
Actually, this is really good, but whoops. Because they're abandoning High Cow. Thanks. Morons.
Listen up!
Oh, bollocks. I don't have the organization to move now. No.
Pushing them back, sir!
Well, we'll overrun them and then there's going to be no troops here to defend.
Move out!
Kidding me. That's really annoying. You should have been able to outrun them. I don't know why we didn't.
Yes, sir!
That's really irritating.
Yes, sir! Attention! Ready, sir!
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Yes,
Another
sir!
thing that just doesn't work.
Yes, sir! All in! Commands!
Oh.
Ready, sir!
Right, so how long is that port going to take to build? 25th of December, a while. And also, I doubt that you're providing any support anymore. Oh no, we're still getting shore bombardment. Never mind. I don't know if that's actually true. And the 7% we were technically getting feels low. Spanish bombers having a go at the convoys as they sail past. He's leaving again. That's fine. This time I think I'm just going to sit here and wait. Patience is a virtue and all that. Ooh, we have another carrier. And a bunch more submarines. All destined for the Pacific Fleet.